All right, welcome. Good to see so many of you here to what I hope will be our first annual Scaminar. That's what I'm calling it, the Scaminar. But a very important topic of conversation. I have just a quick reading of Scripture, and I'm going to open us up in prayer. And this is very appropriate. You find in the Psalm chapter 5, verse 8 and following, "Lead me, Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted." He's talking about his enemies. "Their heart is filled with malice. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they tell lies. Declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their downfall. Banish them for their many sins, for they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield." And I am just happy to host this event as a shepherd, as a pastor shepherd. One of the jobs is to protect the flock, and this is an avenue of protection for you. So let's have a word of prayer, and then we'll begin our program. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time and these that have gathered to be educated in the area of awareness of scams and the sinfulness of others that want to exploit our weaknesses. We pray that you would give us wisdom and insight and direction and application to be better informed about how to protect ourselves, our family, our community against these that desire our downfall and desire our hard-earned money. Lord, we just give this time over to you and ask that you bless it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good afternoon and welcome. I am so glad to see every one of you. We've never done this before. We had no idea if anybody would show up, so you have no idea how beautiful you look to me. Whoa, what was that? Did I tell you my name is Myra? So you may be wondering, how in the world did we get here? This is not the typical thing that churches usually do, to have a scaminar. So it began because people that I know and love were falling prey to these bad guys. And these are people I want you to understand. Yes, they're senior citizens, aren't we all? Some of you maybe aren't, but most of us are. These are people who have had successful careers. They're intelligent. They have skills. They are not people who have lost their faculties, and yet they have been scammed. And so, being a world-class Olympic gold medal worrywart, I started to wring my hands, and I just want to thank my friend, Ron Miller, for being a big thinker, because he said, "No, Myra, we're not going to wring our hands. Let's do something about it." Well, now there's a novel idea. So we began to investigate. We went to our banks. We asked questions. We got information. I even changed my bank account to one that's got fraud protection on it. Yay! And then Ron went to the police department and discovered that our local police have a detective who specializes in this kind of crime. And he had the courage to ask that man to come and speak to us, and you will meet him shortly. Detective McComey, and I'm so glad to know that we have such a man here in our city. By the way, Ron is also our great grill master, and you have no idea how much pulled pork he has barbecued for us today. So I hope you'll stay. This is our gift to you. There will be pulled pork and sides and dessert. And so when we're done here, come on back to our fellowship hall and let's have dinner together. Now, a couple of months ago, I tried to call my beloved next door neighbor, who I consider her a real special gift. And every time the phone would ring, I'd look at my phone and that's not the number I put in there. And then I'd get her answering machine, and it was her voice, her voicemail. And I called several times. The same thing kept happening. The wrong number appeared. The next morning, her daughter texted me and said, "Would you go next door and tell my mother there's something wrong with her phone? Nobody can get a hold of her." So I went next door. And the minute she opened the door, I knew something terrible had happened. And so I want to thank Lori for being willing to come and speak to you today. We're going to start off with a firsthand story of what happened to a real live person right here in Mesquite. Meet Lori.
Thank you, and I, like Myra, and I'm so thrilled to see such a wonderful turnout. This is great, and I feel supported and loved. So, on that note, my name's Laurie Bateman. This is my story of how my bank account was hacked. It started about 5 days earlier with an authentic-looking text on my phone from the United States Postal Service. The text said that Kelly Cervantes had sent me a package, but there was postage due, and it would have to be returned unless I could charge $1.75 to my credit card. I have a second cousin named Kelly, married to a Hispanic man, and so I thought she was sending me family photos, and I gave them my credit card, but it was turned down. So I thought that was odd, but went ahead and gave them my Costco credit card. It was turned down as well, and I began to think this was a scam. Ever the procrastinator, I took a wait-and-see approach. When a call came over my phone about 5 days later, the morning of February 6th, my bank's name and fraud department showed on the header, and I assumed the man on the line was there to help me. He said to me, pull up your account on the computer, then asked me to turn my phone to face the computer. Oh, yeah. He was very knowledgeable with computer and phone. He said he was transferring money to a secure account via a wire transfer. This took several steps. I unknowingly helped my hacker to rob me. I asked about the local bank, and he said I should not trust the bank employees. He then asked me to go to the bank and withdraw cash. I did that. Not proud, but I did that. He then had me deposit the money into the bank's ATM using an authentic-looking logo he'd put on my phone and a PIN number that he gave me. He said he had set up a new secure account for me, another secure account for me. After I had done this, he asked me to go back into the bank and take more money out of my account. I was getting a real bad feeling by then, finally, so I refused and ended the call. Upon arriving home, I called my daughter, said I thought I'd been hacked. I later made a police report, and sometime after that was assigned a detective for my case. At this point, I was feeling gutted, violated, and ashamed. I firmly believe our God sends silver linings when bad things happen, and this was no exception. I was blessed that my adult children were not critical and only offered empathy and support. Of course, neighbors like Myra and friends, the same. I was also treated with respect and kindness by the police officer who took my initial information, and also the detective assigned to my case. I think my experience would have been so much worse if either of them had been judgmental or critical. I was feeling a lot of self-loathing over the event. They were both sorry for my loss and told me hacking occurs more often than it should. So be aware, these hackers are well versed in technology and psychological warfare. I find it disheartening that they are using their talents to rob people. I have come to say regarding my situation that the hacker got into my head, and I kept doing what he said I should do. So don't let them get into your head like I did. If my story keeps one person from being hacked, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
It was only about a week later that I got a phone call from a very sweet friend. Actually, it was a text message, and she said, "Please pray right now for mutual friends of ours." I'm going to call them Jane and John Doe, because they are being scammed right this minute as we speak on the text. And of course, I did pray. I later learned that, again, these are very accomplished people, and they know what they're doing on a computer. I later learned that a pop-up occurred while the husband was using the computer that for all the world looked like it came from Microsoft. And it said, "You have a serious problem, you need to call this number right now." And they did, which, of course, it's easy to look back and say, shouldn't have. Who knew? This phone call lasted a long time. And this man was a real con artist and convinced him that they should take $9,700 out of their bank account. You'll notice that's right under the $10,000 limit where they have to report it to the FBI or the IRS. He said they had to go to the bank and get this money right now, and he had them on the phone all the way to the bank. But you know what? God answers prayer. And the light came on, and they went to the bank manager instead of the teller. So disaster averted. However, they had to hire someone to clean up their computer at their expense. They had to get new bank accounts. They had to get new credit cards. And it happened on their anniversary. Thank you very much. So next, I want to introduce you to another lovely, intelligent lady, and her name is Pauline.
Hello. Well, you see something up on the screen. Am I echoing?
No, you're fine.
I'm fine, okay. Saturday morning, came out to the porch, saw a package like this on my front porch, and wondered what the heck it was. It wasn't from USPS, it wasn't from UPS, it wasn't from FedEx. It was a Walmart local delivery. So I brought it in the house, and Honey and I looked at it, opened it up, and this is what was inside. So Hidden Valley Ranch dressing from Walmart that we didn't order. I took it to Walmart customer service desk, and they said it was charged on our Visa. So $5.98 for this, $6.99 for the delivery charge, which is kind of funny, but anyway. So Walmart said it was probably a scam. They refunded me. So then I went home and I looked at our Walmart online account at purchase history, and there was nothing there. So then I looked on our credit card statements, online, and looked at the purchases to see if there's anything I didn't charge. And there was nothing suspicious in the history. So I called the credit card company to report this and to cancel the credit card. And they verified, when I got on the phone with them, there were 10 more fraudulent charges on our credit card, going back to 2 weeks before that. So they had already declined payment. They suspected that this was fraudulent charges and they didn't charge it. We could not see that when we looked online at the charges that were on our card. They had already done whatever they do on the other side. So they canceled the credit card, issued us a new one. We were not responsible for any of the charges. There was no dollars out of pocket. We had no idea fraud was happening to us until this package showed up on our porch. But you just don't know what's going on back there. So anyway, we're fine, but it takes time. It's frustrating. You got to get a new card. You got to go through all this other stuff. And anyway, feel like we were pretty fortunate. But be careful. Thank you.
Myra,
Yes.
may I add something to what you just said?
Yes, please do.
I took this photograph. I took the photograph that she gave me with the barcode and everything, and I took it to Walmart, to the customer service office, and they authenticated that was a legit
Walmart.
Walmart. Did I say Walmart? Yeah, Walmart. Sorry, and that is legit. So I have a question for Detective McCombie. Where is he hiding? I would like to understand why, if that's legit, how can you, the dots aren't connecting in my head here. How can that be legit, but this whole thing be fraudulent, I guess is my question.
All right,
But
hold
perhaps you can
that
follow up
thought.
on that.
You hold that thought, because we all want to know the answer to that. Now I have another lovely lady. Where did she go? She was right here just a minute ago.
Had to go pick up her dog.
She had to go pick up her dog, of all the nerve. Well, we'll talk about her later then. She has a totally different experience to share with you that happened while 7 of us went on a cruise together. So hopefully she'll be back in time to share that with you. I also want to tell you about a woman named Pam who would like to have been here today but could not. She told me this was her story, that she called her credit card company to make a payment over the phone. And in the middle of that phone call, a male voice came on and said, "Congratulations, you've just won a gift card." Well, she knew that wasn't so she hung up and she called her bank. And as she's speaking to her banker, that same male voice interrupted her call and said, "Congratulations, you've just won a gift card." Was he on her phone all the time? Nobody knows. But again, it meant a new credit card, new bank account numbers. It's really very frustrating, and I'm sure if these people would spend their time making their mothers proud and using their intelligence wisely, we'd all be better off. Yes. Now we're going to have an out-of-state guest. She's going to come to you on a Zoom call, and her name is Joan. So do we know how this is going to work, Pastor? They've got it. Okay. Welcome, Joan.
Hello, my name is Joan, and thank you for allowing me to share my experience with fraud today. I was first contacted via an email from Social Security advising my account was suspended. I immediately logged into my online Social Security account, and it indeed showed that it was suspended. I therefore went ahead and used the number and contacted the agency and provided the case number that was given. I spoke to a gentleman who identified himself as a member of the Department of DEA. He stated that my Social Security card and other important papers were obtained in a vehicle that had been used in a drug deal. There was a case going on, and they informed me that my information had been compromised. He went ahead and asked me if the addresses that they had were any of my previous addresses, trying to obtain more history information from myself. After I concluded all of their questions, he stated that that a gentleman from the Social Security Department would be getting in touch with me to try and rectify the issue. We ended our call, and shortly thereafter, I did receive a call from a gentleman who stated he was from the Social Security Department. Both the DEA gentleman and the Social Security gentleman that I spoke with, at both times, I requested proof of who I was speaking with. They both sent me badges of their IDs, which showed a photo ID along with their agent number. Feeling secure with the Social Security gentleman, I went ahead and spoke to him. He stated that my Social Security was compromised, and we were going to need to go ahead to try and clear out all my financial accounts so that I could be given a new Social Security card. To do this, we had to secure my funds in a government account, which he would help me with. Over the following day, that day, he asked me to go to my local bank and withdraw an amount of $3,300. When I returned home with this amount, during which the time I went to the bank and came home, he had been recording it via my telephone. He said that the recording was necessary in case this became a court case due to the drug case. With the $3,300, he asked me to then go to specific stores, which he provided the store name and the quantity amounts of what gift cards I was to buy. He stated these gift cards only were government issued gift cards and could be redeemed and used by their office. And it was important that I only purchase those gift cards. I obtained the gift cards for the $3,300 and returned home, at which time he asked me to email him the front and back of the gift cards, which I did. From that, the following day, I received from him an email with a photograph of a U.S. Treasury check for the amount of $3,300, which he had stated had been secured now into my account. From there, over several days and weeks, I went through providing him with all my accounts, both savings and IRA accounts, in order that I receive funds from those accounts so that we could convert them into the government secured account. With the purchases of the gift cards, again, he gave me dollar quantities and the providers where I should purchase these. We also did 2 wire transfers at the bank. In preparation for the wire transfers, he instructed me on questions that could be asked. Because of the high volume of fraud in wire transfers, he instructed me on how to answer each question that they might ask. He helped me set up my account with Bitcoin for me to then transfer cash funds via Bitcoin. After providing them with all of my funds, he then went into how we were going to need to restore my credit. He advised that once Social Security had frozen my Social Security number, that I could no longer receive anything to that account, and also my credit rating would have to be reestablished. To do that, he stated I had to go out and purchase additional gift cards, charging these expenses to my credit card to draw enough funds on that credit card, which I had 0 due on, to establish credit. Once I purchased these gift cards, I submitted to him both front and back the information on these gift cards. The following day, he instructed me that he had received these and that I was going to be receiving from them my funds back. And from that, new checking and savings accounts would be provided or would need to be set up. Several days passed and I did receive a FedEx envelope, which I opened and found that there was a personal check. It was not a U.S. government treasury check, but a personal check that was issued by a woman. This amount did not cover the expenses that I had given them over the many months. It well exceeded the amount, and he advised that I had to deposit this check into my bank. Immediately, I knew that this was a fraud because I had heard of other fraud incidences where people would provide you with personal checks for the amount over the amount they were to pay, and you would be into their scam. So immediately I went to the Social Security office with my laptop and computer to provide them with all the information that I had up to date from the gentleman. I was told after meeting with the Social Security Department it was a fraud. They informed me that Social Security never emails accounts, and that this gentleman did perpetrate and create an extensive fraud. After I provided them with the photo IDs and all of the email and text messages, they were astonished at the how extensive that the fraud had gone. They immediately took my information and said that the information was going to be reported to the U.S. Department Inspector General's office with this report so that they could further look into the matter. In hindsight, my takeaway from this ordeal was I should have initially looked at the email address that was attached from the original email. It was not a .gov email address, which I later found out on the Social Security site that all correspondence would have a .gov address. If an ID is provided, you should go to that government office and verify that is a valid ID. And I should have listened to my gut. several times I felt that possibly this was not on the up and up, but I felt after listening to his explanation of my questions to him, he always seemed to justify what was being done. So, in essence, he convinced me to continue the saga. The perpetrator gained my trust and to trust him and to go along with his coercion. In the end, I felt as a victim, but as speaking to you today, I'm taking back control. It's important not to feel embarrassed or to feel guilty if you fall for a scam. These are professionals who prey on citizens and are very good at their craft. Thank you for your time today.
Isn't she lovely? I think she should move to Mesquite, don't you? I think we need her here.
Have you ever had, I have, go to a garage sale? This was 2 weeks ago last Friday.
Can I ask you to wait and ask the police officer after he speaks to us, because you don't want to get your answers from me, okay? I promise you, you don't want to get your answers from me. That's why we brought you the one who has the answers, okay? Is that a fair deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to know how, garage sale, you volunteer to walk into it.
There you go.
Walk into it, yeah.
Detective McComey, would you come to the podium, and we are really anxiously awaiting everything you have to teach us. Thank you so much. This is above and beyond the call of duty, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Well, I don't have all the answers, so I'll try to give you what I got. So there's quite a few of us at the police department who investigate fraud. There's 4 of us detectives who do it. So a little history on me. My name is Detective McComey. I grew up outside of Portland, Oregon. Went to college in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah. Met my wife from St. George, and ended up down here in the desert with the sunshine. That's my partner in the back, Detective Castaneda. He's been in law enforcement about 6 years. He did 3 down in North Las Vegas, and he's been with our department about 3 years. I've been with Mesquite about 11 years, and I've been a detective for 7 of those 11 years. I started out doing, as a detective, doing narcotic work for about a year to 18 months, and I decided that wasn't really what I like to do. I like financial crime just because I like to follow the money. Money never lies. You can follow it. You can track it. It takes a lot of work, a lot of tedious work, a lot of paperwork, subpoenas, warrants, things like that. But we can attempt to track money. So that's what I did. I came up with a PowerPoint a while back, and I called it Scams, Schemes, Swindles, and You. The reason why is because, like the live testimonies you heard, I see people all the time fall for scams, and you think, how can you do that? But they're so elaborate, so convincing. And I have some live scams that I've investigated in my PowerPoint presentation. It's about 70 slides, give or take, but I've heard how good Ron's pulled pork is. So we could just forgo this whole thing and go eat some pulled pork, and we could be good to go. But we'll get through it. If you have questions, just as we're going along about the slide that we're on, I probably will get to most of your questions in the slides. A lot of the stuff that was talked about, I go over. So if you have questions, though, raise your hand, and we'll go from there. All right, so community outreach. So crime prevention starts at home, neighborhood watch, your knowledge at home. The reason that we like to do outreach as our department is information, education, and communication. We want to keep everyone informed. If you follow us on Facebook, we do a post every day, if not multiple every day. Education, we try to get out and do seminars. We have police and fire night out, other community events that that we welcome people to come to and talk to us. We're all there, ready to talk. So today, common clues: who, how, and why. Why they want your money, because they don't want to work for it, or they are working, but they're trying to do it the easy way. Facts to know up front. I'm going to go over all the different types of scams that we see, what to do if you think you're a victim, and then some resources for you. So, if somebody asks you to wire money, probably going to be a scam, okay? If they pressure you, act now, comply immediately, you got to do this, red flag, it's probably a scam. If they threaten to shut off some kind of service, whether it's a phone, utilities, something like that, it's probably a scam, because those people all give it to you in writing. If you're told to pay your bills and do it with a wire or gift cards, is the biggest lately, it's a scam. If you've won a sweepstake you haven't entered, it's going to be a scam. If you have to pay something to get something, it's a scam. If you're asked to transfer money in exchange for your reward, it's most likely a scam. Yep. A large payment, probably a scam. So especially if they want your Social Security information over the phone or via email, scam. Big red flag. Phone number, this doesn't always work, but if it's a phone number you don't know, it's a blocked number, it's probably going to be a scam. But they have gotten so much better. In the last year, we have lots of different cases of them spoofing a number. So they spoof Overton Power District's phone number. And so your caller ID, it looks like Overton Power is really calling you, but they are not. They have gone so far, they've spoofed our non-emergency number. And they called saying, Captain Bundy, which is one of our captains, and you need to pay this fine or you're going to be arrested. They've gone that far that they looked them up on the internet, got our number, they've spoofed it. And people go deposit money into the Bitcoin machines. Bitcoin, going to be a scam, okay? If it sounds a little too good to be true, it probably is, right? And you're going to see that a lot through my slides. IRS, I mean, we just heard her testimony. Social Security, anything like that is going to be in written communication to you. They're not going to call you on the phone. A legitimate past due bill, they're going to send you multiple notices in the mail or email if you're paperless. And we'll talk about that and how to know if it's a true email. But if anybody ever asks you to do it with a prepaid gift card, Apple, iTunes, especially, it's going to be a scam. Us as local law enforcement, we will never arrest you for past due taxes or bills. They use that a lot. We will accompany the IRS just so that there's some police presence and you know it's actually a police thing when you see guys in jeans and a t-shirt arresting somebody. We're usually there with a police car, so you know that it's a real police incident going on. But we will never come arrest you for those kind of crimes. Scammers target anyone. It doesn't matter how old you are, they will try to scam you. Seniors are particularly vulnerable, especially when it comes to Social Security benefits. Often, I'm not classifying this, just often, less tax heavy and more trusting. But studies show that millennials, who are younger than me by a few years, are more likely to fall for a scam. So interesting enough, people in their 30s and into their 20s are starting to fall are more likely to fall for it, is the current trend we're seeing. Banks, government agencies, they will use anything they can to trick you. If you're unsure, ask, hang up, call them back. That's one way to find out. Even look, holiday scam. I ordered my wife expensive jewelry, and instead I got a new gun and some ammo. I swear it was a scam. She still doesn't believe me, but I swear. I feel like I have jokes like that throughout. I should have my partner up here on the drums. He can be like, so yes, there are lots of real scams out there. That might not really be one, but if it were. So realistically, how many contests have you entered? Think about that. Realistically, would any business want you to pay them with a gift card. How likely is it that you won exactly $5,000 or you owe exactly $5,000? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So here's some stats. 2021, FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received almost 850,000 complaints. And that's what they've received. That's not including local law enforcement, sheriff's offices, other federal agencies. That's only what the FBI's received. A lot of times we'll refer people to those to go make a report with them, but not everyone does and not everyone will. So it's way more above that. In 2020, almost 800,000 the FBI received, and in 2019 it was under 500,000. So as you can tell, internet crime, especially fraud, is growing at a rapid rate. In, I think it was 2020, 4.2 billion was lost that the FBI could track. Most common was phishing, which we'll go over that, but that's an email. The most common group is 60 years and older. Funny enough, the two most financially devastating crimes are business email compromise. In 2020, it was like 1.9 billion businesses lost, and then romance scams. I'm going to give a caveat here. I'm going to use real people in some of this stuff. If you happen to be in the audience, it's so others will learn, because I will talk about one of the romance scams that we have investigated here in Mesquite. Ransomware, almost 2,500 victims for 29.1 million. And that was a couple years ago, so I'm sure that is up now. So scammers, they're always coming up. They're getting more elaborate, as you could hear from hers. That was quite the elaborate thing. But that's not the first elaborate one like that I've heard. I've heard many like that. They're elaborate, believable. They know they're not going to get caught, is what it comes down to. Most of them aren't even inside the United States. We can't track them. Once the money leaves the US, it becomes very, very difficult for us. The best defense we can have is just know the signs. So phishing, what is phishing? Originally it came out as any email that would want to steal your username and password. But now it's evolved into any message-based attack that you get. So any email that might want you to take action, click a link, send them money, order something off a certain web page. Spear phishing is a little more centered on a specific person. They will actually do research on a person before they send them that email. You might ask how they do that or how do they get your email. The black web, somebody will steal your information and they'll sell it on there in like bulk batches of emails or dates of birth or credit card info. You can find lots and lots of stuff, that's bad stuff, on that. So a phishing email. So if you look at this example email up here, you have package delivery. Okay, but if you look at the email that comes with it, david37428 @gmail.com. Well, that's definitely not USPS, UPS, FedEx, there's so many delivery companies now, but that's definitely not one of them. Dear customer, any email I've been getting lately and I've been kind of watching comes to me from a company I do business with, usually says, Dear Ian, Dear Mr. McComey, Dear whatever. It won't just say Dear customer. If you start to read this email, it says, unfortunately, we able to deliver. And the grammar goes on through that email. So once you read an email like that, that grammar should be a red flag. I mean, it should be, unfortunately, we are not able to, or we were not able to, something like that. But that grammar goes throughout, so you know something might be wrong with that grammar. It gives a tracking number, so that looks good. And then it gives a FedEx link. If you take your little mouse and you hover over that link without clicking on it, a little box should pop up, just like here in the picture. And this one now says evilhacker.ru exploit, right? Because it will say some other web page. So that's signs to look for. At the bottom, there's an attachment. If you click that attachment, you probably don't want to know what's going to happen to your computer. It's going to be full of malware. They're going to be tracking you, getting your passwords, watching everything you do. So here's an example of a phishing email. Some don't look this good, some look bad, and you can tell immediately. Some look better than this. But this is one of them that we've had. Malware is basically anything that prevents you from accessing your computer system, and usually they want to extort money from you. So if your network is penetrated, you might get a thing on your computer screen that says, it's been penetrated, all your files on the host network have been encrypted, and basically, if you shut down your computer, you're going to lose everything, and they're trying to extort you, you have to give them money. And then it has a Bitcoin wallet address, that big long number. It's like 14 HVKM, etc. They want you to send them Bitcoin, and then they'll release your computer. This does happen specifically to businesses more than people because they want to get any money they can out of that business because they know the business wants back into their computers to go about business, and that's where a lot of businesses lose money. So that leads us into businesses and their emails being compromised. So a BEC or a business email compromise is basically when they get hold of a business email account and they act as an employee, a customer, or a CEO or something like that of the business. So the Puerto Rican government in 2019 and 2020, attackers got into their business emails of the country and tried to get $4 million by requesting different changes to payment accounts from the government. Toyota in 2019, same type of thing. They got hacked, and basically it was like an email that looked like their CEO ordered it and wanted them to transfer $37 million to another account. So that's just the ways that they're going about acting like an employee. Hey, I'm your boss, do this. And a lot of times employees will fall for that. We've seen that here in Mesquite. Sometimes they make bogus invoices. They get attorney impersonation and act like a law firm and call. Data theft, they want HR employees' information so then they can get in and get all the other employees' informations. So all that stuff kind of all links together with businesses and how they're trying to extort our businesses. Other random frauds that can occur are like jackpotting, where they find an ATM or a bank and they exploit some kind of system error in there, and then they now have control of the ATM. Or email harvesting. Everybody's a target. It doesn't matter, me, you, everybody. They want our personal names, emails, phone numbers to sell on the market. If you click that link like in that phishing email and you have some kind of malware, a lot of times they'll record your keystrokes. That way they can get your passwords, what web pages you've been to, investment accounts, iCloud accounts, Amazon carts, Walmart carts, and they'll start ordering stuff. They basically want to hijack our identity so they can order stuff. Sometimes social media, Facebook, Instagram, those things, they are oftentimes hacked, and people send out messages through that, trying to act like you. So we'll get into some frauds that we see every single day. Our patrols officers will come to your house. They'll meet you somewhere. You can come into our lobby, and they take reports weekly. And we'll go over some of those that we see a lot. I put this one first, gift cards. The reason why is the IRS or any other business does not want you to pay them with gift cards, but that happens. I know it, but it happens. Anything with gift cards. So a lot of times they want to stay on the phone with you just like they did with her on the video. They'll stay on the phone with you while you go to Walmart and buy those gift cards. They will be on the phone with you the whole time. Checkers, a lot of times, if you don't go to the self-checkout, they will try to get you to think that this is a scam, but oftentimes it doesn't work because they're very, very convincing on the phone. And then as soon as you buy them, they have you scratch off the back and give them all the card information, and then that card is gone. So grandparent and family scams. My grandpa almost fell for this, and the pitch is a friend or a family member is asking for some kind of financial assistance, usually to bail out of jail, or maybe at the hospital with a medical thing, and they want you to wire them money and send them money. A lot of times when they say, hey, this is your grandson, And then, like my grandpa would say, oh, Taylor. Well, it wasn't really Taylor, but now the guy knows a name. And now he has, yeah, it's Taylor, I'm in jail, whatever he says. That's how my grandpa almost fell for it, is that one right there. Because we volunteer that information when they say it's your grandson. Representatives of friends and family should be able to let you speak with that friend. So yeah, if it's your grandson, luckily my grandpa called my uncle and was like, hey, where's Taylor? And he's like, oh, he's in California doing whatever he's doing, in college, I think. And my uncle called, made sure he was fine, and he was fine. So luckily my grandpa reached out, but this happens all the time. Trying to extort people for where we know we're going to be soft in the heart. A warrant for your arrest. If you don't pay us right now, the court, the police, somebody will issue a warrant for your arrest. Well, it's not quite how it works. If there's a warrant for your arrest, you'll see us, we'll come find you. All right, that's what we like to do. We all become officers to find bad guys. A lot of our patrol guys like to find people with warrants. So we will come find you. But if you want to verify, hang up. You can call the court if they say they're from Mesquite's court or Las Vegas's court. You can call that actual court. A lot of the courts you can now go online and you can check in your name and date of birth and see if you have a warrant out of that court. A lot of times they've been asking you to pay in Bitcoin. Just go to the Bitcoin ATMs, go to the Money Stars, where you can also dump like coins at Walmart. You can also buy Bitcoin through that. They've been asking people to do that. If it has any kind of cryptocurrency, it is definitely a scam. And I already told you about our Captain Bundy one, but that got multiple. We have multiple cases on that where somebody used his name and spoofed our non-emergency number. So if you ever think, oh, this is odd, but he's saying he's a police officer and that is our police officer number, you can hang up and dial that number back and you'll really get the police department and we will tell you that's a scam. Luckily that hasn't happened now for quite a few weeks, but there was about a 4-day period where we had multiple. Romance scams. So someone's falling in love with you, you email, you talk, you do social apps, dating sites. Trust me, you never meet them in person. They're trying to manipulate you to steal your money. They're good at it. They're very genuine, very caring, long conversations. They're con artists. You usually meet them on a dating site or social media site. Their intent is to establish this loving relationship with you as fast as possible so they can get into your money as fast as possible. They will never meet you in person. Real case example, Donny Osmond. There was a lady here in town who swore up and down that she was going to marry Donny Osmond, that they've been talking for months and months. And he needed $60,000 from her so that he could divorce his wife to come and marry her in Mesquite. Her husband was not very happy with this, as you can imagine. But she swore up and down that it was the truth. And we told her it was not the truth and she was being scammed, and we finally got her to believe us. Our patrol officers did a really good job on that one. But unfortunately, she was out some money, but not the whole amount. She just sent a few thousand and said, I can get some more later. So yes, it does really happen, and it's one of the top things in the United States. Yeah. So vehicle warranties. Someone might be looking for you because they want to talk about that vehicle warranty. It's expired, and they want you to give them car information, credit cards, and it's a scam. If you really do have a car warranty, they will contact you via mail. They will send you emails. A legitimate car warranty company will get hold of you to let you know that it's expiring. IRS scams. IRS agent calls you, hey, you owe taxes. You need to pay it now or there's going to be a warrant for your arrest. Well, the IRS will always send stuff through the mail. They will correspond with you directly, not through local police. The IRS will never ask for a payment over the phone. Typically, they don't demand any immediate payment. They will never demand you wire them, and we will never get you for back taxes. They might, but we won't. So here's like a new twist to it that we've seen in the recent months. They have very specific information, a lot like that lady's testimony. Very specific. They have case numbers. They have names of managers. They'll give you employee numbers. They make it sound very, very convincing. They have claimed that they're from Mesquite Police or Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Departments, and that those police departments are investigating on behalf of the IRS. We don't investigate on behalf of the IRS, so that's not how that works. Social Security, it's about the same thing. They're going to freeze your account, and you're not going to get your monthly Social Security stipend unless you pay them or give them something, access to your computer. They want something. That's not how Social Security works. They will mail you a notice if for some reason it's being frozen. They will mail you a notice if it's being restored. You can go to the office and talk to them in person. So they will never demand anything over the phone, and we don't do anything for Social Security Administration. A new update, we've kind of seen this twist into a phone call stating that it's being suspended, and they will reinstate it immediately if you give them all your personal information. Dates of birth, Social Security numbers, mailing addresses, name of your firstborn, all that kind of stuff. Again, that's not how it works. They will communicate with you, or you can go to their office and talk to them directly. This slide usually doesn't work. No, not working here. Okay. It was a call that I got on my phone. I recorded it, and I had some fun with somebody trying to say that they were with the Social Security Administration and that mine had been suspended. And I was like, I'm too young, but I wish. So skimmers. There's no pitch to this. It's a card reading device that they put usually like on a gas, on a gas pump. We haven't had this for a long time in Mesquite, but it can happen. And the truth is that most places where you slide, I'll kind of give you a picture, are built on and into the machine. So you can see in this picture that external device sticking way out. If the model of gas pump has that, you could grab that and shake it, and it would stay on the machine. It's solid. If it's a skimmer that they've placed on top of it, it would look like that, and it would fall off. It's just kind of magneted on or 3M taped on there. There's one in the black too. You can kind of see it looks like the top part's a little longer. And as you scan your card in there to get gas, it'll take all the information, card number, expiration date, all that information that they then come later and collect. They have the little wired one down there on the bottom. It can take a scammer seconds to cut the little safety slip right there, like that red thing. Cut that, open up the gas can, plug that in, and close the gas pump. Seconds. And then they can get your information. So typically, you can see that tape is sealed, and any kind of device on there you can shake, and if it falls off, you just saved yourself from giving your information out. If it's stuck on there, it's part of the machine. Computer repair. So the pitch is you get a pop-up from Microsoft or McAfee or Norton or one of those, and they say you have a virus. And you can fix it by calling this number. You call that number. Sometimes they'll ask for a payment, sometimes they won't, but then they'll start asking to let them remote into your computer to fix it. Or it gets a little more. They can go lots of different ways with this. They want into your computer, or they want you to turn your phone around like her testimony so they can see your computer screens because they want to know what you're typing. Usually if you have some kind of Norton or McAfee, it'll do a little pop-up, and you can click on it and run it. This is just a pure pop-up that comes up, please call us at 1-888, whatever. So just be careful of that. Sometimes we've tried to track those phone numbers, but they close them down so fast that it's impossible for us to track. So here's one that happened. The computer is locked. You need to call Microsoft. Call Microsoft. They say, yeah, you have a problem with your computer. You know, we're going to work on this. Your money is not safe in your bank. Let's have the IRS or FBI, someone like that, will patch you to them. They patch you to them. They give you a badge number, like they did this gentleman in this real case. They log in. They say your money's not safe, a lot like hers, and make him make a new account out of his America First Credit Union and transfer money into a Kraken.com, which is cryptocurrency. Started transfer money into an account with them. He went along with it because he believed that his money was not safe. $562,000 later, this poor gentleman realized it was a scam when they told him that he didn't have to worry about the last $20,000 in his accounts, and they left him with that. Real case, pop-ups are real. They will really get you. So if you get a pop-up, basically a red flag, probably a scam. Credit cards, same kind of thing. They might call you, say, hey, we can give you a credit card with a higher interest rate, or a lower interest rate, or a higher limit, something to that effect, and they'll want to get information from you over the phone. That hasn't happened for quite a while, but FYI, that has been known to be out there. If you want a credit card, I would say choose that credit card, call them direct. Loans and interest rate, same type of thing. They call you up, hey, you need to borrow some, we can give you this low interest rate. Well, interest rates aren't very low right now. So when someone offers you a 1 or 2% interest rate, red flag, it's probably a scam. Most of them want the highest interest they can get, so they're making money too. It seems to be student loans are one of the things that have been affected by this. We can refinance your student loans at a lower interest rate. Well, yeah, every person in their 20s who has college debt wants to do that, right? They want to save money, but if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Utility bills. Touched on this earlier, but Overton Power, Virgin Valley Water District, they might call you for something. We actually had them call our house and said, hey, your water usage is really, really high this month. You might have a leak. Sure enough, I found a crack in my sprinklers, and my whole back corner was really, really wet. So they might call you for something like that, but I've never had them, or no one has ever told me that they've called them for a late payment. So I would guess they would probably mail you something saying, hey, your payment is late. If they do call you and you think it might be a scam, hang up, look up their number, and call them back. They can tell you if that was really them who called you. They're local. They're very nice people. If you ever deal with them, give them a call. Investments, same thing. Hey, we have a tip. This stock is going to surge. Give us your information. What's your bank account number, routing number? We'll transfer some money in there for you. Fraud. Unless you have a broker that you work directly with and you know by name, it's probably going to be a fraud. No one just calls you out of the blue to give you a tip. Or they haven't me at least, and I would really like that. But we talked about phishing. Foreign money scams. We haven't seen this for a while, but it's someone you know might be traveling abroad, and they need some money so they can get in the country or out of the country. Or we've even had foreign money scam where they said, hey, you're related to a royalty in this country, they died, and they willed you money. Yeah, how many of us are really related to royalty? Probably none of us. So how realistic is that? How many people do you know in a foreign country? How many people would call you for that money and not be able to access money themselves? Foreign threat for silence. So we have had this, it's been about a year, but you enter your information on a web page, and then you begin getting threatening emails or texts, some with gory photos. Hey, if you don't pay, we're going to come visit your family, and we're going to do this to your family. All that stuff always traces back overseas. There's always spelling or grammar errors. They have accents when they're talking to you. Usually this involves adult web pages, escorts, pornography, etc. Here's my disclaimer. If you don't like violence, maybe close your eyes. But the next slide contains photos from a real case. These were text messages that they were getting. Cartel-like threats we're going to come find your family and torture them like this. They were scared that they were going to come to their house here in Mesquite. They're not. They're overseas. They're not even near Nevada. They're not going to come. But beware, they will threaten you because they want to extort you, have you pay them money so they don't tell your family or come kill your family. Personal assistance. Hey, do you need someone to work from home, or will you work from home for me? Jobs aren't always that easy for as much money as they pay. And a lot of the people who take a job like this, hey, you can work from home but work for our company, they are caught in the middle. They don't know that there's a scam going on. A case example, a few years back when colleges were using textbooks, now they've kind of gone away from textbooks, but when they were using textbooks a lot, somebody's credit card kept getting charged for textbooks from an online textbook store. Lots and lots of money. I think it was like $10,000, $12,000 in textbooks. Well, we got a hold of the company. They told us where they shipped all those textbooks. It was to a house in Ohio. So we get the Ohio local sheriff's office out there, went to that house. The guy had textbooks stacked up all over his living room. And he would get emails saying, hey, you're going to get a shipment of books today or tomorrow. You need to divide them out into 10 different shipments and ship them to these addresses, and they would have different addresses. So he thought he was working for a company who would send him textbooks in bulk, and he would send them out to individual students, which is what he was doing, but it was all off scammed or defrauded money. I mean, they were paying for textbooks and then selling them online, and students were buying them, and he was mailing them out to the students, but it was all with stolen money. So a lot of those guys are stuck in the middle. Prizes, sweepstakes. We kind of hit this. If you think it's too big or too good to be true, it probably is. How many of us really probably would win a prize? Publishers Clearinghouse or something like that. Probably not very many of us. You could go to the casino here and try to win a prize, and your odds are probably about the same. But just remember, if you sign up to win something, okay, maybe you really did win something. But if you never remember signing up for something, you probably didn't just win it out of the blue. That's basically what it comes down to. Pyramid and multi-level marketing type schemes. Hey, for a fee, we can give you big profits and recruit new members to our organization. You don't even have to sell anything. You'll just get a cut. That's illegal. But then there's other companies that are kind of close like that, like a Mary Kay or a Zia Activewear, where you do get a commission of the people underneath you. It's kind of a fine line there between the two. So if someone's trying to recruit you into one of those or online try to tell you to come work for one of those, do your homework into the company before you just sign up to start doing it. Because when you give them bank account numbers, routing numbers to transfer your paychecks, now you've given them a paycheck. Charity scams, anytime there's a disaster, we all like to help and give. Just make sure you look up that it's actually a reputable charity. Some charities have huge overhead and only pass on a small portion. Others pass on a lot more. So on this, it's just more of a do your homework. There are some different web pages you can find out there, like Charity Navigator or Charity Watch, that will actually give you information on the charities. You can look up to see if the charity is even real to start with, and if it is, how much really gets passed on. Bogus merchandise. You purchase something advertised for a really good price online, whether it's through a Facebook, a Craigslist, a telemarketing call, something like that. They want you to pay in advance and it'll be delivered. Well, usually when that is the case, that's a red flag. You usually pay for the service from merchandise and you don't get it. You want to make sure you're paying for that stuff when you get it, or try not to buy something online. We find this a lot with Craigslist posts. Can you hear me? They'll call, say they have a bad connection, and keep saying, can you hear me? And you'll say, yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. What they're doing on that is they're recording your yes, your voice, and then they're going to go get a credit card in your name because somehow they have your information, and the credit card company will be like, well, isn't this your voice? And that's your voice saying yes. And they'll say yes, yes, yes. The other ones might not be your voice, but they get you on that yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you say yeah?
You
Say uh-huh?
you can, and
Is that the same thing?
it's basically the same thing. Yeah. Yep.
If they say, can you hear me? Do you say yup?
You can say yup, or you can say no. You have a bad connection. Call me back. I can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Be the Verizon guy back to them.
Any kind of yes is still yes.
Yeah, basically. And they'll try to mimic your voice when they open up a credit card in your name. They'll try to do it the best they can. But yeah, a lot of those times then they'll play back your yes or yeah or go ahead or whatever you say. Vacations and travels. You offered a vacation really, really cheap or for free if you sit through a short presentation. Well, most of the time that can be legitimate, but lots of times that's not legitimate, and you go on a trip and then they'll be trying to bill you, and you'll be sitting there at a hotel not very happy thinking you won a trip when you didn't really win a trip. Social media, a lot of times you'll see our accounts can be hacked. You know, it's let people know maybe, hey, I was hacked. Send out a message via Messenger off Facebook or something like that. Cloning Facebook accounts and making like two people with the same name isn't very common, but it can happen. Just watch your social media accounts. Yeah, that's about what I have to say about social media. That's interesting. Attempting to sell items. You can list stuff or you try to buy stuff. They will call and text saying, hey, I want to buy your car. You're selling whatever, a 2020 Nissan. We want to buy it. Will you take a check and I'm going to send my friend to come pick it up? That should be a red flag. I would say don't take a check, especially if it's a personal check. A cashier's check, you can maybe go to the bank to make sure it's real before you give them the title to the car. But if they say they want you to ship them the car or do something like that, it's most likely a fraud. Question?
So I listed some furniture for sale, and then they send you a thing that says, text me back at this number. I didn't do it, but I instantly wanted to know, how is that a scam and what happened?
Okay, good. So if you text them back, they'll start a conversation with you. And basically they're trying to get you to either send them the stuff and they'll send you money, or they want to give you a check for $3,000, but you're only asking $2,500. And so now you know something's really wrong, and it's because it's a bad check, a forged check, something to that effect. That's how they try to get you on those. So if you do sell something, just watch. In-person transactions are obviously way, way better than digital transactions. Attempting to buy items is the same thing. But we've seen a trend now to animals, buying animals online. My partner recently worked a case with this company called Tika.com. It's like a platform where they sell animals and list animals. And somebody wanted to buy a very expensive cat. Well, there's like, you need to pay X amount for the cat, and another company is going to contact you. That company is a shipping company. Now they want X amount of money, and now they need to pay something to import it into Nevada. Red flag. You shouldn't have to pay anything to import into Nevada, especially when it's coming from another state. So just be careful when you're doing stuff, because it's not only Tika.com, Craigslist, Facebook, OfferUp. Those are all different platforms people sell stuff nowadays. A little research will go a long ways when you try to buy and or sell stuff online. So what we're saying is caution. Don't be fearful to do anything. Just know these red flags, know what to watch for, and that'll help you. So if it's a phone, hang up, right? You can hang up. If someone says it's Captain Bunny with the Mesquite Police Department, hang up. Call us back. We'll talk to you. If it's somebody with America First Credit Union, Wells Fargo, whoever, you can hang up on them. say, I'll call you back, hang up on them, and then call them back, your local branch, to make sure it was even them calling you. If it's an email, delete it. Fake mail, shred it. There's no need to report like phone numbers or email addresses to us in an attempted scam, because there's hundreds and hundreds of attempted scams every day. But now if you have become a victim, or you have sent funds, or you have sold them a car, something to that effect, then please call us. We want to know. Oftentimes there's not much we can do because it's overseas, or we'll end up overseas. But we still like to know because we still want to keep track of what's going on in our community. Yes?
If somebody has your account number, can they clone and actually physically make a credit card?
So her question is, if somebody has your account number, can they physically make a credit card under that account number? I would say probably not. But if they have your account number and they know probably your last four of your social or something, they could probably call Discover, American Express, Capital One, whoever, and get another card sent to them. I wouldn't put that past anybody. But I don't know if they could, if they've skimmed your stuff off like off a gas pump, yes, they take that information and they put it on a magnetic strip of a blank card, and now they have your information on a card. So that's what happens with those scammers a lot of times. And we've arrested people in town who have stacks of blank credit cards. They'll have a little scammer where they plug it into their laptop or computer. They scan your credit card, they scan the new credit card, reprogram it to the blank white card.
What about when you go to a store, like Kohl's or Dillard's, whatever, and they say you want to apply for our credit card, and you're doing it there in the store, that's okay?
Yes, that's legitimate business. Yes, that would be okay because you're there face to face. You know it's them. They didn't call you soliciting you sign up for their card that day.
Don't most of these scammers have heavy accents?
Most, but not all. Yeah, most. At least that's one of the first questions I ask people is, this IRS agent, did he have an accent on the 562,000 that the guy sent? He's like, yeah, he sounded very Indian. And I was like, okay. And not that we don't have Indian people working for our IRS, because I'm sure there is. But with a very, very thick accent, like he said it had, my guess is it was definitely overseas. We have lots more questions.
Yeah, I had identities stolen in 2012, and I had a SunTrust account in Florida. And I told them, they said, well, your SunTrust account is safe because they can't withdraw money over the phone in your SunTrust account. So they opened a second SunTrust account on me. They siphoned my money off the first account into my second, and they took all the money out of my second account. It was only $5,000, but the same deal as they did a Discover card, and they took $25,000. I wouldn't answer Discover when they kept calling me, and finally I got a bill for $840 a month for 7 years, and I said I didn't do it. They had all the information on me, but I said why $25,000? And they said, well, because that's the maximum that Discover would take out for a loan. So they had my mother's maiden name. I don't know how they got it. They had everything.
Yep, I'm sorry.
They really sharp.
Yep, very sharp. And it's a lot of work to regain your identity afterwards. The hours that you have to put in for that is a lot.
On the card skimmers, I know card scanners, you can tap your card. Does a skimmer also have the ability where you can tap your card? And if so, can it read when you're tapping it instead of scanning it?
We have not come across a tap skimmer yet,
So if you're tapping, you're safe.
but if I was a bad guy, I would try to invent that. But no, we have not had that. We have not seen that yet. Just where you slide in the card because it reads off that magnetic slip. In the back, gentlemen. Oh, you. Yes. Okay.
I reported
You can report it to them, and they will take care, usually reimburse you your money. Is that what happened? They did. Nothing usually. The credit card company or your bank will just be like, "Oh, it's a loss," and write it off. You can call us, and we would try to look into it to see who that person was. Try to get surveillance, try to get whatever we can to try to identify that person. It's very, very rough and usually leads to a dead end. But once in a while we get lucky. So yes, we like you to report that stuff to us. Just happened like today or? Okay. Yep, you can call our non-emergency number when you get home tonight, and one of our gentlemen in blue will come to your house and take that report. And then it'll probably be passed to my partner or myself. Yes? We have not seen that happening. But
I called my title company where I have houses, and I asked them about that, and they said they've never seen it.
I've never seen that. So your house should be safe. Yeah, go ahead. So we haven't ever had anybody report that to us that I know of. But if you look at the gift card when you go to buy it, if the numbers are scratched, then I'd probably put it aside and grab another one. I would just probably take that precaution. But we have not had anybody report that to us. So, go ahead.
So I've seen way too many interviews and read too many stories about AI-related scams. Most of them involve somebody's voice and a family member who's been kidnapped. But there's other variations of this. Have you guys seen anything at all AI-related?
Have we had any EI stuff yet?
We haven't had nothing here in the city, but it is out there. Conservation, there's been reports of you get a phone call from a loved one stating, hey, I've been arrested or I need money or I've been kidnapped, and it's her voice, sounds like them. And the way they'll take that is through their social media. They'll take that voice to social media, and then obviously they mimic that same voice to make that phone call.
Yep. We haven't seen it though, luckily yet. But with AI emerging and becoming so popular nowadays, it is probably on the way.
My daughter was telling me today that her report, she's 47, so she's wise, somewhat. Even any reports that she does through her computer now, because a lot of her classes for nursing classes are online, they have to have it tested for AI before they even accept her report. It goes through a protocol that has, you can't have this, and this on the computer or on the, say,
And that's for cheating purposes. The same with the high school. I have kids in high school, and they take their papers that they write and run them through an AI decoder just to make sure that they haven't just typed into ChatGPT, type me a paper about Romeo and Juliet. I told them if you do that, you got to change it to your own words. Don't plagiarize ChatGPT, right? But yeah, the school will run it through, and that's why it's so people don't cheat and use AI. Well, yeah, I mean, I remember Terminator when I was a kid. Yeah, so yeah, AI is becoming more and more. So if you do think you have a call and a scammer on your call, ask them for badge numbers, report numbers, names, employee numbers. They might make it up and give you one. That happens. But you might just throw them off guard, and they won't know what to say back, and then you'll know, okay, this is a scam. But more and more scammers, like we heard from the prior testimonies, are getting information and giving that information, which makes it really, really hard to follow up. Okay.
Unfortunately, I've been subject to identity theft, but one of the things that I did as a result of that was to get a PIN for returning your taxes to the IRS. And the people were trying to claim my tax refund before me, and now they can't do that because I get a thing from the IRS every year, and they give me a PIN that I give to my accountant when they file my taxes. So I would encourage everybody here to apply for a PIN at the IRS so that nobody can apply for taxes in your name and get your tax rebate.
Yep. And make it more difficult than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, another question.
Several years ago, I don't know why I'm up on TV, but there was something that was just really advertised as a great, I can't remember now exactly what it was, pre-brew hands or whatever. And I got the one, I liked it so well that I ordered 12 more. And they came from China, it wasn't the same thing at all, and that was off television.
So you got that off the TV?
Got it on TV, and I don't know exactly what happened to that person, it was fabulous. But all these came from China, I don't know what, it didn't look like, there was one time of it.
Yep. That can happen. Misadvertising definitely can happen.
Can you give us your opinion of Venmo and where to keep our passwords? Yeah, thank you. I was wondering where our mic went to. My question is, what is your opinion of Venmo, and where do you recommend we keep our passwords?
So passwords I would keep in a safe place at your house.
Not on a website?
You can. I mean, it just depends on how safe you think that web page is. And Venmo, I use it all the time.
Okay, so there's a new one out called Zelle. Do you know if it's more safe than Venmo?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people use Zelly or Zelle, something like that too. That's hooked through your bank. I'm not saying a fraud cannot occur on Venmo. You could definitely pay a fraudster via Venmo. And then we go about our investigation, try to subpoena that information, find out who it was, where it was. It's usually a fake person, but Venmo's pretty safe as far as just money-to-money transaction. Yep.
I have a question. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. I used to use, and I still do, use PayPal because they say they guarantee they have a protection plan. I bought something a year and a half ago and from the .com place where I was buying something. To this day, I've gone through the resolution center 3 times, and PayPal said, no, it's a legitimate thing. It was not a legitimate thing. I never received any information from the vendor. So I don't know how many of you guys still use PayPal, but their protection plan is not all that good. Isn't Venmo associated with PayPal?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about PayPal and other companies being in cahoots.
Be very, very careful. Only thing I think I didn't do from the vendor before I purchased it, I didn't look at their email or return information completely. I looked at it, it sounded like a legitimate thing. I bought hundreds of things through PayPal, but this one was definitely a fraud, and PayPal did not protect the sale of it or the purchase of it. So beware. If you buy anything with PayPal guaranteed status on it, check the vendor at least 100%.
Yeah, that goes with pretty much anything, I think, nowadays. But if you get something in the mail, check the address. Most agencies will use P.O. boxes, not actual addresses, especially if they're fake. The IRS, utility companies, banks, they will always have a listed physical address that you can research. If you're trying to buy something, you can always look and make sure that it's HTTPS, meaning secure. And then government agencies always have .gov or .us after them, if it's some kind of federal agency that's trying to scam, that the scammer's saying they're with. Call your bank. They can check your account. Go into the bank, check your account. Most agencies are aware of scams and usually will be happy to confirm with you, like, hey, I'm going to call you back. Hang up. Most of them are happy with that. You know, especially if they say they're local police or something, please just hang up and give us a call. We'll straighten it out for you. And if it is, we'll give you right back to that officer who's calling you. Just because we'll come find you usually. We won't just give you a call like, hey, we want to come arrest you. What's a good time? Wait, that's not how we work. We will just come show up at your car or work or house or something. Check your credit. You can always request free credit once a year, a free credit report from the 3 majors. I would tell you to take advantage of that. Check your credit. Just make sure it looks good to you. Just because that'll show you if you have any fraud that you don't know about under your name. Credit score, credit reports, I mean, that's with them, with the credit company, but if your score has gone down and you knew it used to be better or vice versa, you could be subject to a scam, especially if it's going down because they're not paying the bill. You can always have your credit freezed if you have identity theft, so no one can get into it. And it's a myth that checking your credit will reduce your score, because it will not. Some major credit card companies nowadays will actually show you your score every month on their app, like Capital One, for example, they do. So you can always check with your credit card companies on that, and you can monitor it. And if it starts to fall, you can be like, why is it falling? Request a report, and you can find out why. You can always pay for a credit monitoring service, and they'll do that, although there are ones who want to be scams out there, so make sure you're using a reputable company. FTC, you can report a lot of these scams to the FTC, and our officers usually ask you to do so, especially when it has to do with a telephone number. Because they are the ones who will actually go do the big investigations and close down those call centers. I actually have a cousin who works for the FBI, and he went to Africa with some like FTC guys and some other investigators to try to go shut down some of these big call centers where they're calling and scamming Americans out of lots and lots of money. And then COVID hit and they all had to come home. But they are trying to fight it as best as they can. Just doing a general internet search like grandparent scam or IRS scam, you will get lots of returns. But they will tell you, hey, if you hear something like this, it's probably a scam. You can kind of do some research on your own. You can check web pages like snoops.com or Truth or Fiction. They post a lot of that same information. Search social media. That can help you find some of the stuff. Just overall, be careful. Read it for misspelling, grammar. Look for misprinted logos. We had one 2 weeks ago that an officer took. She came to my desk and was like, hey, look at this logo. What do you think? And I'm trying to think who it was. It was the U.S., it was some agency. And they had a weird logo with like an eagle and kind of like a badge looking thing behind it. And then we Googled the real department. I can't remember which it was. And they have a totally different logo. We even did like a logo search. We couldn't find this logo. So somebody made it up, but they put all the information. But they wanted you to call this number. Luckily, the person didn't call that number, and they called us because they wanted, obviously, to collect some money from them. So look for misprints logos. Look at the different attachments. An official letter from an official place will never use all caps. They won't change their fonts throughout that letter. They want to look clear and professional. So that the font thing can really help you. Listen carefully if it's on the phone, accents, broken English, a computer-generated thing. That's why I have robocall on there. Look at specific titles, agency names. If they just say they're calling from the government, way too general. If they list off some long title and it's really cumbersome sounding, it could possibly be legit because there are lots of weird departments in our government. But ask them to repeat it a few times and it makes it kind of funny. Especially if it's really long. Google's your friend. Use that, double check. You could try even typing in the phone number that's calling you, like that 702 number I have on that slide, for example. Why are they calling? You can see who, it may pop up who owns that number. Google's the largest database for information. So search them. It'll give you lots of research sites, especially if you type in scam or fraud. They'll go to a lot of that kind of stuff. Google will also search verbatim. So you can like copy and paste an email, and it'll search through and see if Google has any history of that email being sent, or somebody else maybe posted that email on a forum and say, hey, this was a scam, and now you know it's a scam because somebody else verified it. Just beware of emails, watch what you're clicking, hover over, and you can check the addresses if you don't think it's real. Mainly go with your gut. Just trust your gut. If your gut says, I don't think this is real, or something's too good to be true, it probably is. Mobile device fraud, over 60% of digital fraud now occurs on a mobile device. Whether it's a cell phone, which is what it is mostly, a laptop, an iPad, something to that effect. Almost all scams are starting to happen on mobile devices because we have them all the time. I mean, I carry 2 of them all the time. So this is where they know they can get us. Mobile advice, basically just be aware of the apps you're downloading. Some apps have good security, some don't have good security. Just watch what you're downloading onto your phones. Bluetooth, if it's on, or some people can hack into that and get information off your phone, spread a virus to you. Wi-Fi, your phone will always pick up the strongest signal. So if it's a rogue Wi-Fi, someone might be monitoring at a coffee shop. They could patch into your phone and try to alter stuff on your phone or get into your phone or device to get credit card or personal information. Human error, devices are left all the time on the side of the road. They fall off cars, left at the casinos. A thief steals your bag, your phone was in it, something to that effect. Make sure you have it password protected. That definitely helps to help secure anything that's inside your phone. Do not call. Go to donotcall.gov, put your numbers into there. It's not necessarily going to help because they'll still get your number and they'll still call you. But if it is a legitimate company calling you, you can file a complaint through the Do Not Call registry, and they get fined. If it's a scam, they're just going to keep calling you. But definitely, if you don't want to be called and if someone's calling you, go there and put your number in first and see what happens. If you have complaints with phone type stuff or emails or anything like that, I'd recommend go to the Federal Trade Commission, .gov/complaint, and you can fill out a complaint with them. And we'll tell you to do that a lot of times depending on what kind of fraud you have. A simple like forgery of a check or someone used your credit card at a store, that's not worth going to the FTC. But if they're calling you, wanting to stay on the phone with you while you're buying gift cards, things like that nature, we want that phone number so we can log it into their database. Ask a friend. You're not alone. Don't be ashamed if you are a victim or you might be a victim or you think you might be falling for a scam. Ask friends. You can give us a call. Say, hey, I think this is suspicious. And you'll talk. Sometimes our officers will just call you back on a call like that. And they can tell you, yeah, that sounds like it might be a scam. Pass this information along to your friends and family. Education is key in keeping us all safe. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back.
One thing is don't be afraid to get a police report because that police report, I submitted to Discover Card, I submitted to my bank, and with that information I had on the police report, that added to the fact that I was being
Legitimate.
identity theft. You know, I had to
Yep.
go through 3 agencies, and then that new one they had come out in 2012 to you know, to eliminate the fraud. But having that police report really helped with my bank and Discover when I sent them that information from the police report saying I was scammed. So if you're afraid, don't hesitate to get a police report as soon as that occurs, because that backs up getting your money quicker from the bank and everybody else, straighten everything out.
It does. It just helps legitimize that you've been a victim of a crime. That's why we say call us. I mean, if you just get something, just delete it, don't call us. But if you have fallen victim, or you think you're about to fall victim because you're driving to the store to Walmart to buy a bunch of iTunes gift cards, and you start thinking, why am I doing this? Hang up and give us a call, because that suspect or that fraudster is going to be calling you right back when you hang up on them. And they won't leave you alone. And you can block the number and they'll call from a different. And you can block that number and call from a different. But once we say we're with the police department on your phone, when you answer it on speaker, they usually forget your number. Okay, so yeah, that definitely give us a call for reports. In the back.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a lot of family members in California with the 310 area code, and I've been getting some calls from them. How can I tell if that's a scam or something like that?
And answer and find out. Yeah, I would say just answer, because maybe it's a friend of hers or somebody, or maybe she's using an app that changes her phone numbers. There's lots of reasons, but I would definitely answer that, find out who it is, and if it's a scam or something, just block that number and don't answer again. That'd be my advice.
I get phone calls often that, you know, the caller ID doesn't have a name, but it's the phone number that is my phone number, but they transpose the numbers. Like my phone, 2673 is the last numbers of mine, and the call that's coming in is 2367. How much of a coincidence is that? I mean, I get these.
I don't believe in coincidences, so I'd say that's.
It's like once a week.
Oh yeah, they won't stop. They're trying to get us all.
And I just don't answer it. Should I answer it and say, take me off your list, don't call me?
You can do that. You can see what they want and then block that number. Yeah, I mean, you have options. If it was me, I'd personally answer that call and see who it is, what they want, and then tell them not to call me and hang up, and then block it. That's what I would do.
Twice I've gone to Del Taco, and then my debit card's been hacked, and my bank will call me and have to issue me a new card, and then I have to call all my purveyors and give them the new number. And Del Taco was my favorite.
Well, it might not be Del Taco. I mean, we took a report 2 weeks ago, and the guy swears it was Poncho's that stole his credit card number, because that's where he ate before he went to the airport.
Yeah.
I've already been able to track 4 of the 5, and it was some guy in Vegas. So I'm sure he bought something at the airport that he is not remembering.
Okay. Well, this guy bought stuff in Florida on Christmas Eve, and I had to go 10 days without any cash.
Yeah, that's what happens. Unfortunately, they shut you down to get you a new card and stuff. It doesn't mean it was Del Taco who did that, but they could very well be somebody at Del Taco. That's hard for us to tell until we get into the information.
Debit versus credit. Is it about debit? Only use credit?
You can use whatever you like. My experience is credit is very much faster to give you your money back than the bank. I prefer credit, especially when I travel, but that's just because I trust my credit card company. I mean, I've had them call me and say, hey, did you just buy something for $900 at this place? I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, we didn't think you were in California or Florida or wherever. Or, yep. To verify you get that text, yep. So I prefer credit personally, but you can use, banks are pretty good. Just usually it takes a little longer to get your money back. Yep, that's fine. Nope, that's it.
Don't run off. I'm not trying to run you off. Much, I really do. And I know some of you still have questions, and some of you can smell the food. And I can. So I hope you'll come and join us. Our restrooms are right out here this direction. The fellowship hall is right straight back that direction. And I hope you'll join us. And are you going to join us for dinner?
Yep, we'll be there.
So there you go. You have you have another opportunity. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. That was a lot of information, wasn't it? Thank you very much for coming. I hope you'll enjoy your meal.